Well, that sure was fast. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and it's barely been any time since I posted the big reveal of the Jakks Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019 giant-sized Godzilla figure. Boy was that a mouthful to say. And already we've got more images of upcoming Jakks Godzilla figures. None of them are giant-sized, but, well, take a look. These, according to the boxes, are in the 6-inch category, and I should specify 6 inches tall since obviously wingspans are going to be much bigger than that. There are several variations of these different figure sets, each with a variation of Godzilla, Rodan, and Ghidorah. From the look of it, there are 2 solo sets for Rodan and Ghidorah respectively, and 2 sets in which Rodan and Ghidorah come with a variation of Godzilla. As you can see in this picture, we're looking at figures that are fairly sizable, all things considered. These aren't like the Godzilla 2014 sets where the Godzilla and Muto figures were relatively tiny. These guys are going to be significantly bigger. It appears that no matter which set you get, either the one with Godzilla or the one with actual buildings, you're still getting the same models of Ghidorah and Rodan either way. The primary difference between sets appears to be that, one, obviously, one set comes with Godzilla and the other set doesn't, and also that the sets which come with Godzilla appear to have cardboard stand-ups of backgrounds as opposed to accessories. Those accessories being buildings and vehicles. Speaking of which, details on those buildings and vehicles don't look all that intensive. They're clearly sculpted to look like three-dimensional objects, but there doesn't appear to be any variation in color. The buildings with Ghidorah are solid green, the buildings with Rodan are solid orange, and the vehicles, both of which are flying vehicles interestingly enough, are a sort of gunmetal gray color. Interestingly, while Rodan is accompanied by what looks like a standard military bomber plane, Ghidorah appears to be accompanied by that mystery vehicle people have been speculating on recently. You know, the one that looks kind of like a flying wing or stealth bomber, but doesn't quite match up. So apparently that vehicle is significant enough to be included as part of the merchandise. I do wonder what that particular vehicle is. I've heard some people say it might be a variation of the Super X. I don't necessarily know that myself, because the Super X is traditionally more egg-shaped, but we'll see. I'm sure it's one of those other man-made weapons Michael Dougherty alluded to in recent interviews. The 2 different Godzillas appear to have the exact same mold. The primary difference is that the Godzilla accompanying Rodan has his dorsal fins and eyes painted bright blue. This is, of course, how he appears towards the end of the second trailer. His spines are glowing, but he's not spitting flame. I've seen a lot of people speculating about the possibility of burning Godzilla showing up in this film. Looking at this, I'm actually wondering if what we'll see is more akin to supercharged Godzilla. That was a Godzilla variation created when Trendmasters had the rights to the Godzilla toy line back in the 90s. Those were the days. In terms of articulation, it appears Godzilla has the expected joints at the head, shoulders, and hips. Difficult to tell from these shots if he has tail articulation. Both Ghidorah and Rodan appear to have head/neck and leg articulation. Ghidorah's tails are detached in the package, so they'll probably be articulated as well. They also appear to have mid-wing joints as opposed to shoulder joints. The paint job on the kaiju is also slightly better than on the buildings and vehicles. Again, mostly solid, but there's some variation, particularly on Rodan, who has sort of a mottled red and black look. And of course there's color variation in the eyes. Otherwise there doesn't seem to be that much variation. I think it's also worth taking note of the background display pieces. The accompanying card for Godzilla and Rodan is the volcano from which Rodan emerges. That's pretty much to be expected. Interestingly, the card that accompanies Godzilla and Ghidorah appears to be the wreckage of a baseball stadium. If you zoom in, you can clearly see a baseball field at the bottom. Could this possibly be a glimpse at a location in the final battle? It's quite likely. It's also interesting to note that this Ghidorah appears to have no problem standing up on his own, at least not in these promotional shots. That's actually rather interesting to note because the SH Monster Arts Ghidorah needed supports under his wings. This one, however, if the promos are to be believed, is freestanding. Might be inaccurate, but we'll find out once they arrive. Now I don't know what the price range for these things will be, but I'm guessing they'll be cheaper than the giant-sized Godzilla, and definitely cheaper than anything from NECA or SH Monster Arcs. Then again, they also won't be as high quality as NECA or SH Monster Arts, so... well, I guess it ultimately comes down to choice. Although it's also rather curious that Mothra is absent. Having checked, I haven't seen any evidence of Mothra just yet. But then again, it is possible that Mothra just hasn't been revealed yet. We'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. Anyway, that's the latest bit of news. Now we'll see if anything else turns up. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, as well as subscribe to the channel for more content of a similar nature. Also, check the description for links to our Twitter, DeviantArt, and Patreon pages, as well as the Amazon link for the novel Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, penned by yours truly. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.